Well, happy Friday Eve. Welcome to the Mamaprenuer Podcast. I am your amazing hostess with the mostest, Robbin. Thank you guys so much for coming in and tuning in to us tonight for episode number 46. Tonight's episode is going to be such a treat tonight. I'm glad that you all could join us. Tonight is the podcasters episode. Tonight's guests are all podcasters. And we did this episode last year, got a lot of great feedback on it. And it was a great way to hip you all to some podcast game and to some new shows. You know, we are surrounded with podcasts everywhere, but not everybody gets that exposure. And so I decided to do it again, one more again. And so I am excited for you guys to hear about each podcaster and their stories and their why. And it's going to be great. First things first, before I even get to my fabulous guest, you guys know what it is. You must share the live broadcast tonight. So I'll wait. So go ahead and share tonight's live broadcast. I am doing giveaways after tonight's show, but you must share in order to get added to the giveaways. So share the live broadcast and type hashtag Mamaprenuer in the comments so I know that you shared. Sharing is caring. You never know what this episode may be helpful to somebody. One of these ladies tonight somebody may have a breakthrough based on what they said. Okay, so don't be stingy. Share. Okay, all righty. So, excuse me. Also, this show is growing in so many different areas, regions, countries. And I just want to know where you all are tuning in from. Type that in the chat, where you're tuning in from. I would love to know. You know, we hit in Canada. We did a little analytics. This thing hit in Germany and like UK and all of that. So, you know, we growing. We trying to get this thing global. So, you know, I'm here for it. So let us know where you're tuning in from in the comments. Also, this platform is all about sharing and networking. And that's how this platform came to pass. And so I want you guys, if you're an entrepreneur in the audience, please type in your business info in the comments. So, you know, we're going to network within the network, if that makes sense. Okay. So put your business info in the comments. You never know, somebody listening may need your services. And they can say, oh, I found out about her from the Mamaprenuer Podcast. You know, share the wealth, share the love. Okay. Also, if you are feeling something that we're talking about tonight, if you really agree with what we're saying, what we're talking about, please type in the comments. Hey, if you have a question, type in the comments. If you had a whole aha hallelujah moment, type that in the comments. Why not? All right. So thank you guys so much. Again, this is episode 46. We just hit 2 years last month. It has been an amazing, amazing ride. I always like to give her flowers to her every episode. The Power Team CEO, Kesha Kesh, for seeing something in me that I didn't know that we had. 2 years later, 46 episodes later, here we are. Come on, sound effects. All righty. Few things before I get to my amazing guest. Have you been to the Mamaprenuer Podcast website lately? Ooh. Have you bought some merch yet? We got merch on deck. Join us. Get some merch, okay? So I have shirts, we have mugs, we got all the things. So make sure you check out the website, or if you want to pre-order your mugs, please let me know. I'm not going to judge what's in your cup, okay? Just saying. All right. Next. Have you subscribed to the Mamaprenuer Podcast YouTube page? You should. Why? You get to see my fabulous face in all the episodes and all the things on the Mamaprenuer Podcast YouTube. So join us. Join us on YouTube, down to the YouTube ministry. Come on. All right. Y'all know I don't have all my marbles. All right. Also, make sure you're following the Mamaprenuer platform on Facebook and IG and TikTok. I'm always promoting something, updates, you name it. So you won't know unless you're following the platform. All right. So that's at Mamaprenuer Podcast, YouTube, Facebook, IG, TikTok, Space, everywhere. Okay. All righty. Calling all entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs and male entrepreneurs, because I'm doing an episode for my guys, but I am still booking for the remainder of 2023. So if you have not had an opportunity to come on and promote your your business on the show, I'd be happy to give you more details in regards to being a guest on the show. You can shoot me a DM on at Mamaprenuer Podcast on Facebook or IG, and I'll be happy to provide more info on you being a guest on the show. These ladies tonight, they're going to get exposure for their podcast. You can get more exposure for your business. This show is played on multiple platforms, and so that's the cool part about promoting your business on the Mamaprenuer Podcast. And if you guys have followed me on social media, I've had a few people post their testimonials. It's been great. I'm going to give you a little something from what I said in my post yesterday. If you sleeping on the Mamaprenuer Podcast, it's time to wake up, because we going places. And I want you to come along for the ride, because this ain't all about just Robbin. It's about everyone that is in the community. And that's what this thing is about. Community networking, growing together, room for everyone to eat, room for everyone to grow. All right. All righty. Also, my male entrepreneur, same thing. Please reach out to me if you want to come on to the episode in a few months that I'm doing for male entrepreneurs. I'll be happy to provide those details. Okay. All righty. Shout out to my pitch competition winners. I did last month. I put out a little something, a pitch competition, and for those winners, they get free promotion for their businesses on the podcast. So they'll be coming on to the show at later dates. So shout out to my girls, Eugenia Brandy and Soraya Christine. Those are my winners. Shout out to everyone who did submit a video. Thank you so much for submitting a video. I will be reaching out to you all separately to provide some details on some things that we have coming up for the show, and as a way for you to still get promotion for your brand. Okay. For my people that you just don't have time to come on to the show, but you want your business, you want to get some marketing done for your business, I do have affiliate marketing where you do not have to be a physical guest on the show. You can provide me your information and I'll be happy to do that for you. Okay. So if you want to know more information on affiliate marketing, I'd be happy to provide that for you. Again, that's at Mamaprenuer Podcast, Facebook and IG. Shoot me a message and I'll be happy to set up a call to provide more info on that. Again, it's a great way to get your name out there and you not physically be a guest on the show. Okay. All right. Also, I will be a vendor on June 17th at Lofty Spaces with a bunch of other small business owners from all over the DFW area. June 17th with the Plug Hub. It's going to be an amazing event. Get your tickets today. The Eventbrite link is posted in the chat. Would love to see you all there to support myself and other small businesses. That's what it's all about. Support the little guy. These corporate companies, they got it. Support the little guy. So yes, I'll be there selling the $5 bling. If you can see, I got a little bit on it, of it on now. The $5 bling, if you can see it. Okay, thank you, girl, for my close up. All right, so come out June 17th to support me and everyone else that will be vendors. And there's always some good food. I'm just there for the food. That's bad. I'm there to sell my product, but I'm there for the food as well. And lastly, before I go into my next spiel, I will be a speaker at the Oh Yes I Can conference on June 24th. I didn't get a chance to send that link, but I will post it in the chat. Come out and support. It's a business conference. It's all about women entrepreneurs and networking and connecting, all the things that I'm all about. And so I was asked to come and speak. So I'm grateful for opportunities to come my way and come speak and bless people with the knowledge that I do have in regards to entrepreneurship and my journey so far. So I'm grateful to, for any opportunity that comes my way. All right. Last but not least, before I get to my amazing panel tonight, if you've watched the show before, you know that I love affirmations. I believe when you speak positive things will come to you. And so tonight's no different. So I'm gonna talk about some affirmations and speak them over you all today. I hope that these are a blessing to you as they were for myself. Please, if you are into this or new to this, feel free to write these down, put these in your notes section in your phone, what have you, and speak these over yourself later. Again, at first, when affirmations first came my way, I thought it was hogwash. I was like, okay, child, that ain't real. And then the more I spoke it, the more I saw those things come to pass. Now, disclaimer, when you are speaking affirmations over yourself, these things are not going to happen to you in 2.3 seconds. The things will happen to you in God's timing. Just want to throw that out there. Some folks be thinking, you talk about affirmations and it's just going to do this. No. So I'm going to go over these real quick and then I'm going to get to my amazing guest. All right. All right. First things first. I am healthy, blessed, and healed. I am healthy, blessed, and healed. Okay. I am open and ready to receive what God has for me and my business. I am open and ready to receive what God has for me and my business. I deserve the best that life has to offer. I deserve the best that life has to offer. I will not live in the spirit of fear. I will not live in the spirit of fear. I will not wait for opportunities to come to me. I will create them. I will not wait for opportunities to come to me. I will create them. Everything I desire is on the way and working out in my favor. Everything I desire is on the way and working out in my favor. Few more to do. I welcome new blessings and opportunities into my life. So if the opportunities decide they won't show up, child, you better let them. All right. Okay. I welcome new blessings and opportunities into my life. All right. I lack nothing because I have God on my side. I lack nothing because I have God on my side. And last but not least, for the people in the back, I release worrying and overthinking about things that I cannot control. I release worrying and overthinking about things that I cannot control. All right, that's it. I was like, girl, where's my clap? All righty. Well, the moment you've been waiting for, my fabulous ladies. So before I even get to them, you guys make sure you're sharing the live broadcast. Get ready to be blessed. Get ready for some gems to be dropped. All the things. So I would like to introduce my first podcaster, the fabulous Latoya Wilkins. She is the host of the Imperfectly Beautiful podcast. You can get off mute, girl. Hey.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Tell me about your amazing podcast and let the people out there know about your show.
Absolutely. So, as Robbin stated, my name is Latoya. I am the owner of the brand Imperfectly Beautiful, which is essentially a brand for Black women and helping you all to understand, or helping us to understand the importance of self-care. So I launched a business back in 2020, right before the pandemic hit. And it essentially stemmed from me, the environment that I grew up in, and seeing a lot of self-sacrificing, seeing a lot of prioritizing everyone else's needs before their own. And the behavior and environment just kind of trickled down to, how I begin to function in a lot of relationships. And eventually that. Did I get disconnected?
There you go. I was like, Latoya. There you go. There you go. I thought we lost you, baby. But you're still there. Okay. While we get Latoya back. All righty. My next fabulous podcaster, the fabulous Candace Madison. Hey, beautiful.
Hello, Robbin. Thank you for having me. I want to first tell everyone I apologize. I am over here moving around. I'm having to use a different device than I intended to. So please be patient with me. But I just want to thank you for having me on the show. My podcast is called Caregiver Preservation Network. And it really kind of was inspired by my caregiving responsibilities that were placed upon me for my parents. I had two ill parents at the same time over a 10-year span. And so walking through that, it made me understand that there are so many ins and outs that people don't know about, and so many resources and just support that is needed for people that are caregivers. And so I started my podcast as an encouraging way of allowing people to just hear the reality of it, but also from a place of love. And so we're still very new. We've only had a few episodes that I've been posting, but we are on YouTube and Facebook and Spotify right now. So I'm excited to be here and learn about the ladies and what they're also doing. But yeah.
I love it. So glad that you're here.
Thank you.
All righty. My next podcaster, next victim, the fabulous Aaliyah Tanner.
Hi. Sorry, my voice. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the applause. But yes, my name is Aaliyah. I am the host of the Mama's Point of View podcast. It's pretty much where we just talk about all things motherhood, entrepreneurship, mental health, navigating young motherhood, just navigating life in general, and just being very open and vulnerable and transparent about things that have transpired in my life since becoming a mom, and all of the changes and all of the struggles and the sacrifices and all of the things. Um, I am currently on Apple Music and Spotify. I think I'm on YouTube as well. It's a fairly new podcast, and I love it. It's fun. I'm a talker at heart, so it's like the perfect thing for me to just get on and talk about the things. And I'm really passionate about it because just navigating motherhood is hard, and especially when you throw entrepreneurship and being stay-at-home mom and all the things in the mix. So, yeah, you can check me out. It's Mama's Point of View on Spotify and Apple Music. And then my platforms are Instagram and TikTok at Mama's POV _.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
Aaliyah,
you
this
for
is her
having me.
second time on the show, child.
Yes.
She's doing big things. Aaliyah's our baby of the group, 24.
Mhm.
She just turned 24. She old soul, young person. 24.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, babes.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And my last diva coming on is the amazing Janine. Is it Redden, Janine? I want to make sure I said it right. Okay. And she is the host of Journey to Restoration with Janine, correct?
So Intentional Queen Podcast, Journey to Restoration with Janine.
Okay. I was like, Lord, okay.
It's a mouthful.
Kind of talk about your show and what your show is about and how people can find you.
Okay, perfect. So my podcast is Intentional Queen Journey. I started it 3 years ago. I come out every other Thursday. So today is Thursday, so it's a new episode today. My podcast is all about empowering women on their self-love, self-healing, and growth mindset journey. I started it 3 years ago when I was going through one of the roughest patches of my life, a divorce. I was in burnout with my health. I was super sick. And also on top of that, I had death in family. And God said, Janine, you need to find an outlet. And I just started podcasting, speaking into a mic. And now we're 70 episodes in. I have all types of women covered in. It's just been a good year for me. So I'm always talking about bloom where you are. My biggest thing is I use the butterflies. So that's where Intentional Queen Journey comes from. It talks about a journey to healing. It's a journey to getting yourself back together. It's a journey about loving yourself on a deeper level, showing up for yourself with confidence. And also as a mommy, we get into shame and guilt because when I'm not doing this, I have a very high prestigious job that doing podcasting was totally different, but it became my outlet. And what I really realized as a nurse anesthetist or a nurse anesthesiologist, what I realized is I need to find a way to take care of myself. So that's my biggest thing. My podcast, like I said, comes out every other Thursday. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, you name it, you can find me. And I just love being a mindset coach and a self-love expert for ambitious moms who struggle with overwhelm and self-neglect and want more peace, more love, more confidence, and more wholeness in their season. So that's my spiel.
Amazing. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it all. Come on now. Come on now. All righty. And I wish I had the thing, at the movies where they say, take one, take two. We're going to do this for Toya real quick. Take two.
Hopefully it does not cut off again. My internet it's been acting up lately. So
technology, I get it.
But apologies. So I'll try to make this quick. And Perfectly Beautiful, as I mentioned before, started a couple of years ago, right before the pandemic, and it essentially focuses on self-care for Black women and helping us to understand the importance of learning how to put ourselves first through practical self-care tips. So the podcast includes a lot of me just being vulnerable about my self-care journey, where I started from, where I am now. But then I also feature a lot of guests that come and even talk about their experiences. But I also have a lot of experts, specifically mental health professionals, that come and talk about a lot of different topics as it relates to self-care. So, for example, talking about trauma, talking about different types of therapy, different forms of therapy, talking about like setting healthy boundaries in relationships. So I try to touch on a lot of different topics as it relates to self-care as a way to help women provide some type of resource to where the podcast and business in itself will be taking some slight changes. I'll be making some slight changes this year, but that is soon to be, discussed. So if you aren't following, feel free to follow.
Yeah.
The link, I'm pretty sure Robbin will share the link to the podcast, and you all be able to hear more about updates. And if you all are interested and need some self-care resources, feel free to tap in.
I love that. Thank you so much, Latoya. Alrighty. So I'll introduce myself because I don't think I did that at the beginning of the show. For those who are fairly new to this platform, my name is Robbin. I am born and raised Dallas, Texas. I am in corporate by day, but I am everything else outside of corporate. I've been a hairstylist for 25 years and transitioning as we speak into coaching and consulting. My business is called Savvy Salon Systems. I'm gonna try to stand up so y'all can see the logo. Savvy Salon Systems, baby. Oh, thank you from a close-up, girl. Thank you. If y'all can see that. Savvy Salon Systems is about, we're not quite a year old yet, but getting everything going. And it's coaching salon and spa professionals and help them work smarter and not harder in their businesses. So the podcast is 2 years old, like I said earlier, as of last month. And the podcast, of course, the general platform and premise is to build a community for female entrepreneurs and let them know that they're not alone in their journey. I always say that entrepreneurship is an emotional roller coaster. So it's this. It's never just, just happy the whole time, And so I did this episode on purpose just to put an avenue for podcasters to get a little bit more exposure. But one of these ladies' stories may, hit home for you and, may be able to identify with one of these ladies. So tap in. If you got questions, tap in. So ladies, I'm going to ask each of you individually. I know some have probably answered my question, but for the ones who have not and whoever wants to go first, they can. What made you say, yes, I have a story to tell. Yes, I've had this, that, and the third happen, but podcast. What made you say, you know what? I'm going to spill all this on a podcast. Go. Whoever wants to go first.
For me, the reason that I started was because I just wanted to have like a space where other moms could relate to me and the things that come with motherhood, especially like new moms. Just kind of everyone's journey is different, but we have so many things that are the same, like just adjusting to like being a totally new person and adjusting to, a new mental space, just getting stretched in so many ways, and just letting other moms know that they're not alone, and to just create a space for relatability. Honestly, that was my why for the reason that I created mine.
That's your why? Okay. Who else?
I'll go next. Mine is kind of the opposite. I struggled to do my podcast. I come from a very private family. We're not very vulnerable, all those things. So I prayed about that. I think the first 3 months, I didn't even tell anybody I was doing it. And then I said, God, if this is what you need me to do, I'm just going to keep showing up. And I realized that so many women were suffering in silence. And I just kept going. So I'm grateful that I continue to go and I show up for myself every 2 weeks. And so people hold me accountable. So I think it's very important that when you feel the nudge of obedience to keep going and to keep showing up for your tribe, because your tribe will come.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
Okay.
think for me, if it's okay if I go next.
Yeah.
I think for me, it started more as a journal or me kind of just recording my thoughts out loud. Um, it helped me express myself. It's been a huge healer for me, and I felt like I had a lot of information to share because the caregiving journey can be extremely lonely. Kind of what just to kind of touch on what all the other ladies said, whatever your niche is or whatever your pocket of expertise seems to be based on your own experience, um, you know, I think that it's just so required that you share that. You don't just keep that for yourself. I think especially it sounds like a lot of us are in roles of stewardship or mentorship of some sort. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I had to put down my experience so that other people could at least have some idea because I did it completely blindly and it was very
Okay.
difficult and it was hard. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. All righty. Toya.
Yes, I think mine is also somewhat similar to Janine's, and part of it was related to kind of that vulnerability aspect. And so for me, it was an opportunity to kind of share where I come from and what I've struggled with and dealt with and overcome. And I think through that, it helps a lot of people to connect you to your brand and connect with you, and it makes your content more relatable. So that part of it was also an opportunity for me to step outside of me because that is one thing that I definitely struggle with. And with me having this brand and just kind of hiding and wanting to help people, it wasn't, the two don't go together. So I had to put myself out there in order to do that.
For sure. For sure. All righty. Favorite thing about being a podcaster? What's the favorite thing? Like, I love being a podcaster because.
I love being a podcaster because it just gives me an outlet to just, like she said, it's kind of like a journal that you're talking about out loud, and you can share as much as you want or you can share as little as you want. And it just gives a lot of people insight about who you are and like what you represent, and just shows a lot about your personality. So I just like just creating that space to be me and talk about things that interest me, and just really bring my people together, my audience that's supposed to hear me, just to connect with those people. That's I feel like that's my reasoning for starting the flying here.
Okay.
I would say for myself, it's I guess my favorite thing is just creating like a small community. The podcast isn't huge yet, but it's that community feel, and even some of those messages or texts that I get of the people that have been helped. And so I think sometimes for me, part of the journey has been discouraging because it's like, oh, well, I don't have tons and tons of followers, but sometimes you get that one message or that one review, letting you know how particular episode or a number of episodes have impacted someone else. That has to be my favorite thing.
Okay.
I'm going to piggyback off of Toya on that. I always say on the podcast, I speak to the one. So when I show up, I just show up for the one person, and that's the obedience of it. And I've created networking because of that. And you will get those DMs, or they will say, hey, that was for me. And so that is what keeps me going to show up to break things off people. I always say one more time for the person in the back, and bring your notebook. And so that's when people send me the DMs, like, I wrote that down in my notebook. That message was for me. So when you can say what you're doing is helping someone by you just showing up for the one, and back to that, just having humble beginnings, because we all start somewhere. So even though your population or your tribe might be small, it will grow, and it only takes one to tell one. So just start where you are and keep going.
And I'm going to say that my favorite thing is definitely just like everyone else with the helping. I mean, that's really kind of why I'm doing this. I get a lot of calls. I consult offline, just people will call me and say, "Hey, I've got this situation going on with my loved one that I'm caring for." And what I love is when I get the response and the feedback and whatever suggestion that I made, even if they altered it a little bit and they're for, to tailor their own experience. I love to get the feedback where it's like, hey, you know what, that really worked. Thanks a lot for connecting me with this resource, or just kind of pouring into me because I'm burned out, or something like that. So that's my favorite part. It gives me such great pleasure to make sure that people are living their life and thriving. I think that's the other part of it too, why I'm doing this. I don't want to just talk to this group of people and say, here's a resource, here's this. I want people to actually find some joy and some peace from it as well. So that's my favorite part of it.
Very, very well said, ladies. I'm going to step in real quick. Robin stepped out, but I have a question from the crowd. I wanted to go around the room and you all can answer as you can. What words of encouragement or, what things would you say to that person that is interested in starting their podcast, but they're just afraid to just take off the gloves and make it happen? And the reason why I'm this was a really good question to put out there for you all, is because podcasting is becoming very, very popular. And there's so many different people that want to do it, but they're just afraid and they're not knowing what to do. Is it this time? What words of encouragement do you have for them? And anyone can go first.
I would
Do it
say,
scared.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Candace.
I was just gonna say, do it scared. I'm still scared. I'm not somebody that I don't do well on camera, in my opinion. I can talk to people. I'm very social. I'm not shy. But to put myself out there, kind of like what Coach Janine was saying, I'm very private. And so putting myself out there and getting on YouTube and, you know, I don't mind people listening to me, but putting myself out there is a little bit daunting for me at times. So I'm doing it scared. So that's the best advice that I can give. It'll get easier, just like everything else that you try to conquer. So.
Alrighty, y'all.
And to add to that,
difficulties. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
I would say, because that was one of like my concerns. Like, there are a lot of podcasters and there are a lot of people podcasting, and what if my information is going to be redundant or repetitive to what someone else has? And so I feel like there are a lot of different podcasts and a lot of different areas and genres that talk about a lot of different things, but sometimes, depending on your personality and the way that you deliver content and the information that you have and the way that you deliver it, like, people may connect with you personally. So I feel if there is something that you're genuinely interested in speaking about and you feel passionately about doing it, I would say block out all the outside noise, block out the thoughts of like, okay, there are all these other podcasts. If it's something that you genuinely are interested in doing and you feel passionate about it, and you know that whatever messaging or content that you have is going to be impactful, I would say go with it. Starting the process can be a bit overwhelming. It can be intimidating, but I would say just take your time and try to map out the appropriate steps to get started, do some research on how to get started, but pace yourself. But I would say don't allow, the saturation of the market to discourage you from launching your podcast.
What I was going to say, and I'm going to tag off of the other ladies, but baby steps are still steps. and they will lead to giant leaps. I say that all the time. So with me always talking about confidence on my podcast, what I like to tell people is courage is what happens first. So that's just making that first step. So if it's something that you really feel within that you want to give back to somebody, let your tests become testimonies. It's a reason that you went through whatever you went through or whatever you want to discuss, and nobody can do it like you do. We're all unique. And one thing I believe, like I said, my whole logo is a butterfly because I believe it stages to it. And so you have to do the inside work, and then you will be able to shine and take up that space. So I think sometimes as Black women, definitely we feel like we don't want to take up that space. We don't want to jump into somebody else's arena. Your lane is your lane. Can't nobody do it like you do it. So take up your space. Bloom where you are. So whoever that's for that's asking, you just start, you baby step. And when you keep showing up, it becomes a learned behavior. And then the next thing you know, you'll see these ladies. We're all in different phases of our podcast. But, you know, for me, 70 episodes, I did every other Thursday. My friends was like, you need to do it every week. I was like, I can't commit to that. So commit to something that you can commit. I was a busy mom working full time. So I could only do 2 times a month. So commit to what you can. Post, keep going.
I love it. Consistency.
It don't gotta be.
No, not at all. I love the consistency of it all because more people get to see your show. More people get to actually see what you're talking about. And again, someone who will identify with whatever it is that you have to say and talk about. And the people will grow. The more you promote it, the more you put it out there. Yeah. So I completely agree, Janine. That is amazing. That's great. Apologize for my technical difficulties. I'm gonna use Candace's line from earlier. The devil is busy. Okay, the devil is busy. It didn't took. Okay, you still see me. I'm like, it didn't took my light out too. Okay. Anyway, that's the joys of live podcast. All right. Okay. Next question. Favorite podcast you've done so far? Favorite? Is there a certain one you like? Man, that's my favorite one so far. That was a good show. Or you got a lot of good feedback.
My favorite podcast episode was talking about starting my business as a stay-at-home mom. And it was my favorite episode is because it was something that I just was very intentional about doing. It has helped me and my family so much, and I feel like I'm walking in my purpose, doing something that I love, and I'm able to still do it like while I'm home with my kids. It doesn't take a whole lot of my time, and I just love that episode because I was, helping other people and telling them, how I let go of that fear and got started, and just really followed my passion, discovered my passion, and just followed it. So that was my favorite episode.
And she has the 2 cutest kiddos. They are so cute. 2 little men that are going to be much taller than you one day.
I know, right?
They are so cute. They're so cute. She does these. She does content, and she'll post it on TikTok or Facebook or whatever. And it's just her and the kiddos are one of them, and it'd be so funny to watch. And so I'm like, oh look at them. They're just so cute. That's why I'm like, enjoy that time, girl. It's gonna go by so fast.
Yeah.
Mine almost 14. So that should tell you something. It's gonna go by like that. Yeah. Anyone else favorite episode you've done so far?
It's a tie for me. My first one, which was Meekness in a Storm, hearing the pain that I had in that episode. So it showed my authenticity. And then my favorite next one was Self-Love is Not Selfish, because I believe that you truly can't love somebody until you really love yourself and pour back into yourself. It helps your kids, it helps all your relationships. But Meekness in a Storm was the saddest, but it was the most trying to find the words. It was the most realistic. Like you really got a full sense of my pain. I think sometimes people take to you authentic wise when they can see where you started to believe you, to follow you, because they need to see where you started. And so for people to get that's why I say that one.
And there's in it showing off the authentic side of you. You can come on your podcast and be fugazi all day, but you coming on and you actually are being authentic and real. Again, someone is going to identify with that. Someone's going to like, okay, it's not just me. So I love self-love isn't selfish. I love that. That's amazing. I got a shirt, my life group and I lead a life group at church, and we have those shirts. That was our theme. We do a retreat every year, and that was our theme last year. It was so much fun. But yeah. So anyone else?
I think my favorite episode that I've done so far, I'm only 3 episodes in, but my favorite one so far is What's on Your Bucket List. And it was just kind of giving some really encouraging ways to implement your bucket list of items that you want to accomplish. And there's no measurement to it. It can't be too big or too small, whatever it is. But I just gave some really good tips on how to execute that and honor yourself, because obviously caregivers, we don't have a whole lot of time to, give to ourselves. So I wanted to like put a blueprint together for people to, or a model, I guess I should say, that for people to follow so that they can, be able to thrive and still be able to do the things that they enjoy in the midst of having those other responsibilities placed on them. So, I think we all have the same heartstrings as far as wanting to make sure that self-love is taken care of. You're getting proper rest. Black women, it's in our DNA, that we don't know how to take rest very well. And so it just making yourself a priority is just something that we weren't really taught. And so I think now a lot of us have gotten the memo, and we watched our own parents walk through a lot and work themselves to death, honestly. And we want to enjoy our lives and raise the kids and do this and that. And, and we can do those things, but we have to prioritize ourselves. And so those were some of the things in that episode. So I did enjoy that one.
Okay. Great. Shouts out to my caregivers out there. You guys do so much for everyone else, and you got to make sure you take care of yourself in the process. I know a few caregivers, I got to get them out the house. We got to maneuver things. We got to, I got to tell you last minute, hey, we're going to get our nails done today. Let's get you out the house so you can, have a little time of pampering. So shout out to you, Candace, and all the caregivers out there. So if someone wanted to get into the podcasting game, what is some advice you would give them?
So I guess I would have a list of things to do to get started. Definitely do your research. So I will share just some of the things that I did to help me kind of launch my podcast. So I did just some research on, I ended up actually taking a podcasting course, and I can't forget the person's name, but he essentially guided us through some of the steps to help us to get started. And some of the tips that he provided that really helped me was to, and this is pretty it's like typical advice that you would take like when you're actually starting a business. So like finding out who your target audience is, what the focus of your podcast is going to be. One of the things that I really took away from the course is having a number of podcast episodes pre-recorded. So for someone like the average working adult, we work a 9 to 5. Some of us are also parents. Some of us also have side hustles. Some of us are also in schools. So working before you launch your podcast, having a number of episodes recorded in advance. So that way you're not overwhelming yourself trying to record every week if you don't have capacity to do so. So that was one of the big tips that I took away from it that really helped me, especially at the start of launching my podcast. Also, just being able to don't obsess over equipment, especially
Amen.
You're starting out and you're not generating any income. Do not stress yourself out over microphones and speakers and all that good stuff. I found a microphone and a headphone set on Amazon for like $50, $60. You don't have to pay for a streaming platform. I was using a paid one at first. Then I switched over to Anchor. It's free to stream your podcast. It's free to record your podcast. So I guess another tip would be is to minimize your expenses starting out and to do try to find things that will alleviate as much stress as possible, which also translates to spending less money. Also, too, is reaching out to other people. So if there is a specific topic or focus of your podcast, like for example, mine focuses on self-care. So I reach out to a lot of people within the mental health space. So that would involve me reaching out to people on LinkedIn, reaching out to therapists on Psychology Today. So be open to networking, so that where if you have the type of podcast where you desire to have featured guests, search and try to, whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's LinkedIn, start networking, building connections with people so that way you can have them on as guests. I've met some great friends through there, and they've connected me through people, and I've been able to have some amazing guests on my podcast. I'm sorry, I'm reading a comment. Do you want me to answer the question, or you want somebody
Can you speak on housing the podcast for your content? You can answer.
Okay. So I guess I'm trying to, and let me know if I'm answering this question correctly. So you can record your podcast and house your podcast in one space. So I use Anchor. So Anchor, you can record your podcast on there. They have very limited editing features, but I tend to not do a lot of editing when it comes to my podcast. I just leave it as is because I don't know how to edit. So there are long spaces or a cough in between. You can edit that out through Anchor. But through Anchor, you can also, there's like something called an RSS feed. And if you look it up on YouTube of how to do it, it's pretty simple and straightforward. But there's an RSS feed. So if you want to have your podcast listed on Apple, Google, Spotify, all you have to do is go to those separate websites and tie in that RSS feed. So every time you record a podcast through Anchor, it's going to automatically post it to all of those different sites as well. So it's not something that you manually have to do. It's going to automatically do it on itself, the hosting site. Okay. I'm not understanding the last question, the difference between visuals and audio. But if someone else understands that question, they can feel free to jump in and answer that. But those are the tips that have
you would give someone
helped me when starting my podcast.
Amazing. Anyone else have anything they want to add? Okay,
I was going to say one thing about podcasting is, one, people don't see you unless you start doing video podcasting, because that's the thing too, where you have your mic, but you're also recording it at the same time, but you need clips, and that will help you market your podcast, because that's the thing before that I didn't have, is getting people to the podcast. And so you have to have social media and find ways to engage people to come over to the podcast. So having clips or audio clips, like a minute or two. I use Headliner. It comes with my hosting site. I use Libsyn. So Libsyn sends to all the platforms. I put my podcast loaded in there, and it surfs it out to all the sites. I would also say have buckets of content. So now I'm in my 70th episodes.
That's all right.
Listen, I take my time with that. Coming up with content, you start getting tired. Like, well, what do I say? What do I talk about? So when I did a podcasting course, they said come up with 3 to 4 buckets of content. So I always talk about self-love, self-healing, and growth mindset. So when I'm pulling through, so when you first get started, to help you bulk batch content, like they said, come up with a couple of buckets of content and then list out all you want to talk about under those, which then will help you create content and continue to have your podcast come up. And another thing is, it doesn't have to be perfect. At first, I didn't really know how to edit. If you have an Apple, you can use, what is it that they have on Apple that you can use? There is a GarageBand, and then I use, not Audible. We have another one, Audacity. I use Audacity. That's free, but I do have an Apple laptop. But that's what I use to edit. And get yourself some intro music. You can get that from Audio Jungle. You can pay for, I don't know, you don't want copyrighted music. You want to buy your music. And so then you can add that to your intros. And don't be afraid to use Fiverr or Upworks. If you struggle with tech or struggle with making all the pretty content, outsource once your budget get right. But outsource as needed, and just get started. Those were my tips.
Mine is be consistent. I don't think I can stress that any more than what I can stress it. Be consistent. Be consistent in promoting yourself. Be consistent in promoting your platform, because you can't just promote it once and expect people to be like, oh, okay, Janine. No, you got to do it more than once. And then you got to post, great content, meaning content that's going to grab attention. Content, TikTok, you can go on TikTok right now, and I'm pretty sure you can see about 5 videos and people pointing at words, or something outlandishly crazy. Do whatever it takes to engage your audience, engage people to want to listen to your show, and have a great niche. One thing I can say about every last one of us that are here today, we all have an amazing niche and can reach different people, have the same common goal, but be able to reach people at the same time. And that's one of the reasons why I did today's episode, because everyone has one common goal, but everyone has their own individual niches. And some are moms, some have little people, some got big people. Some are talking about self-love, some talking about mental health, some talking about caregiving, and so on and so forth. So you just got to know what your niche is going to be and kind of roll from there. Don't be all over the place, because people will see that, the audience will see that. So all righty, y'all. So we're going to go around, quick round robin. I need you to tell everybody what's coming up for, in this case, Janine, because I'm looking at you. Janine, what's coming up for Janine? What other endeavors, events, things you have going on? Let everybody know how you can be followed. All the things, Janine, all the things.
All the things. Oh, wow. Well, first things first, my first book is coming out. It will be going to Amazon in the fall. And so I'm excited about that. I just sent it off to my editor. So I will have my first book. It's all about my intentional cheat codes on how to live an intentional life and how to show up for yourself and bloom. I have an upcoming free master course that's for ambitious moms. As I told you, I help them alleviate overwhelm and self-neglect. So I want you to bloom where you are and to show up with more confidence, more mindfulness, and have a more fulfilled life. So that's a free masterclass that's coming up for me. You can sign up on my website. It's right there, intentionalqueenjourney.com. That'll be June 22nd at 7 p.m. It'll be a virtual event similar to this. And what else I got? My word of the year was balance. So really all I wanted to do was channel all that in for me. And I turned 40 this year. So I am doing a lot of celebrating this year.
Fabulous 40.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And let's see, what's all my handles? So all my handles are TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all at Intentional Queen Journey. My website's intentionalqueenjourney.com. I have a free Intentional Queen Refuel. That's the monthly newsletter. As soon as you sign up, you get to see some of my big events that I've done virtually. I've also showed Robbin, and I do like the Hot Healing Girl Summer, and I did the Healing Summit, and they have sleeved and broke curses off some women. So that's what I got going, all that. So I'm excited.
Righty. Thank you, Janine. Just fabulous, girl. Come on, 40. All righty. To the baby of the group, Aaliyah.
So if you guys didn't know, I am a brand and lifestyle photographer. So that's what I do for, work or whatever. So you can follow me there at Memory Photo Co. on Instagram, and also my handles for Mama's POV is Mama's POV _ on Instagram and TikTok. And I also have a Facebook group that I'm thinking about revamping soon. It's Mama's POV on Facebook. The Facebook group is there, and I'll be coming back with some content for that soon. And my podcast is on Apple and Spotify. And what I have coming next is just to be more consistent and just really find balance. Just like Janine said, I feel like I'm all over the place right now. I'm looking all tired. I'm I am exhausted. I'm about to go to bed after this. I'm just trying to find balance. And just keep going, keep pushing.
And real quick, if you've seen my branding pictures and I got on a green blazer, someone did those pictures that are on this live right now, Aaliyah Tanner. And so she does amazing work, and she quick with it. Some folks be having you wait 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 9 months. Ain't nobody got time for that. So love you, Aaliyah. You did great work. We'll be talking again. So on something else, child. All right, Candace Madison.
Yes. So what I have coming up, I'm going to be recording my 4th episode. It's going to be with my very special guest, my daughter. She is going to join me in the podcast, and she's going to be sharing her experiences. So we wrote out a really good show, and she's going to be sharing her experiences being a child of a caregiver. So we're really both excited about that. So we'll be recording that in the coming days, and stay tuned for that. You can find me on Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. So on YouTube, it would be Candace Madison, but on Spotify and Facebook, it's Caregiver Preservation Network. And so hopefully you guys will tune in and listen. If you all know anyone that is a caregiver and maybe just could use some encouragement or some tips, I post things on the Facebook group page. It is a public page, but I do post things there that are encouraging or just FYI type of stuff that I feel like a caregiver may want to know. But I am really excited about the next show. So
thank you, sweets. Thank you. Latoya, before we wrap up, we come into a close. Latoya.
Yes. So one thing coming up, I've been working on a product since the start of the pandemic. So a 52-week self-care workbook will be coming out sometime this year. So that's a major thing that's coming up with Imperfectly Beautiful. But if you are in need of any self-care resources, and if you are interested in listening to the podcast, my Instagram and social media handles are Imperfectly Beautiful Official. Within my page, you will find a link directly to my website, which will also lead you to some digital self-care resources. And if your funds are limited, I also offer a free self-care resource, which Robbin will be linking in the comments, and it's also available if you pop up on my lost train of thought, pop up on my Instagram or Facebook pages.
Amazing. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming on tonight, gracing us with your presence. Thank you, audience, so much for tuning in tonight. Make sure you share tonight's live broadcast to get entered into the drawing. I am doing it immediately after our live. Thank you all for supporting us tonight, and I will see you all in 2 weeks, and you all have a blessed night. Thank you.